Hey, welcome back to another episode of Razorback Reels. I'm Adam Roberts.
And I'm Aaron Imsall.
We've got some great reviews, and as promised, we have our top 10 films of 2008. We each have made our top 10 of 2008. We spent a lot of time on them, so
definitely.
Sure you're eager for that. But first of all, we had a pretty fun weekend at the movies, at least I did.
I did too. It was enjoyable.
We'll start off with Coraline, as she was corrected.
Henry Selick, the director of The Nightmare Before Christmas, and acclaimed author Neil Gaiman are hand-making something special for you in eye-popping 3D.
All right, Coraline, directed by Henry Selick, famous for The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's based on a children's book, and I really enjoyed this. I think this is an example of where 3D really works. It wasn't distracting, it didn't seem gimmicky, and since this is a stop-motion film, it just looked really, really good. Because when you see a 3D movie, it always looks a little bit like a dollhouse. So since you're making a movie that's pretty much a moving dollhouse, put it in 3D, it's just perfect. It tells the story of a rambunctious little girl. She finds sort of a Pan's Labyrinth opening in her house and goes through there and enters this world that seems like somewhat of a utopia at first, but things are not always what they seem. So I enjoyed Coraline. It's definitely a PG movie. The little kids might not like it. It's not necessarily funny, but it's a very good story, and I really enjoyed seeing it.
Well, I also saw Coraline, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance to see it in 3D, so I bring the other perspective of seeing it in 2D, which maybe it's not quite as impressive. I don't think maybe the story can withhold without the 3D effects, but it's so creative, and it so really brings out the imagination. I mean, this whole Uber world and bizarro world that she has going on with the buttons on the eyes, I'm sure you've seen from the preview. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, Dakota Fanning doesn't differentiate herself. You can't tell it's Dakota Fanning as the voice or anything. None of the voices really stand out, I think, in this. It's like, oh, that's a great voiceover job or anything. But there's some really cool visuals. Even without the 3D, you can still enjoy it. I don't maybe think the story is a completely, great story. It's neat. It's nice having this imaginary world. But there's nothing breathtaking. Oh, I didn't see that coming. And my 3-year-old saw the movie today. He was able to keep with it, and he enjoyed it too. So there's a word for why they enjoy it. But there's definitely some PG moments in this.
Right, you have sort of the Botticelli parody there.
Yeah.
I was staring, I was like, what?
Huh?
Really?
Really?
Really? I mean, if they can't show it at the Super Bowl, but they can show it here.
Is this a Fellini film?
Hey, it worked though. I mean, I did enjoy this. If you like The Nightmare Before Christmas, you'll probably like this. It's the same visual style.
It's the same guy that did it.
Right,
same director, yeah.
So this is, it's a good, something to take the kids to, something maybe even just go by yourself.
But we recommend seeing it in 3D, probably.
Right, definitely. He's Just Not That Into You was a movie we both surprisingly enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
The guy acts like a total jerk. That means he likes you. Hey, Connor, I hadn't heard from you, and, I mean, how stupid is it that a gal's got to wait for a guy's call anyway, right? We're all equal, right? More women are accepted into law school now than men. Call me.
He's totally gonna call.
This guy, he MySpaced me.
Ouch.
MySpace is the new booty call.
Oh.
Okay, He's Just Not That Into You, the new film with the huge cast of all stars.
We're not even going to bother.
Not even going to bother, but some of the highlights, I think, in this, some I really liked in this movie. But first, let me tell you what it's about. It's basically about love and how people think, oh, come on, what are you, crazy that the warning signs are all there? He's just not that into you.
It's signals, Jerry.
Yeah,
signals,
it's all about, exactly. Yeah, this could almost be like a Seinfeld episode almost. But there's all kinds of things going on here. with people wondering is someone, you know, do they like them or they like her and she doesn't like him, and it's back and forth. I really like I think who carries the movie is Jennifer Goodwin, who's in Big Love. She's fantastic in this. I think she really brings on the personality and the charm, and you really care about her character and you want to see her, you know, find love. And her cohort in this, and they were both on the show Ed together, is Justin Long. So now they've reunited after being on the show Ed, and now they're on this movie together. And I think they have pretty good chemistry in this movie. They kind of, and they do a really good tie-in to the movie Some Kind of Wonderful, which is a John Hughes favorite of mine. And they tie into that movie, which is also, I like it when they tie into older movies. I always think that's kind of neat. You know, some people think that's cheesy.
And they did it well.
But they did it well in this movie. And this movie is some people might get confused with this movie because there's a lot going on.
It's hard
in this
to
movie.
remember exactly. It's more of like a long series of vignettes that's pieced together.
Exactly.
It's a full story.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of a Woody Allen film, only with a less bleak ending, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I think this is really upbeat for the most part. You don't know if it's going to be that way, but it's pretty upbeat, and I think it's pretty funny. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm supposed to hate this movie. You know, here it is, early February. It's a chick flick. Oh no!
And like
I liked it.
Yeah, in my theater, there were no other guys. There was one other
guy in mine.
And 80% of the ticket buyers are female. But you have two guys here who both enjoy the movie, so this should tell you that it's not. Maybe the marketing was a little bit off, because I think that this would definitely appeal to both genders. It's a very tolerable chick flick, if that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, and you got great stars. I mean, I'm going to real quick give you a few in case you don't know. Scarlett Johansson, Jennifer Connelly, Kevin Connelly, Ben Affleck. I mean, that's a great amount, including the ones we haven't
Bradley
talked
Cooper,
about.
SNL,
Bradley Cooper, who just
SNL,
hosted SNL last night. Yeah.
Right. And I thought all the performances were at least passable, and some of them were really pretty good.
Yeah,
so.
it was enjoyable. It was a fun film. It's way better than you think it's going to be, especially coming from a guy's point of view. Way better than
you can trust us on this one. All right, well, we had Pink Panther 2, something that, we'll just roll the trailer.
Detective isn't what he used to be.
Clearly a violation. Take that ticket! Stop this guy immediately!
But some things
I am now leaving France. This is a bad idea.
never change.
The legendary Pink Panther diamond has been stolen.
What I tell you.
Now he's back on the case.
All right, not Peter Sellers. Oh no, it's Steve Martin. Oh, Steve Martin in Pink Panther 2. It's pretty much your paint by numbers sort of goofy comedy. It's something the whole family is supposed to enjoy. I did hear a lot of kids laughing in the theater, but I didn't think it was anything special. You see the setup coming the whole time. I rated it a C- because I think for the film that it intended to be, it didn't have its sights set very high. It wanted to be something that you rent on DVD and put it in for the kids when they're making popcorn and no one's really paying attention to what the movie is. So it passes as that. I thought it was never horrible. I was never sitting there like, oh my gosh, but it wasn't really that engaging either. It's something that will keep you mildly entertained, but nothing terrific. Steve Martin needs something to rejuvenate his career. He's lost his mojo.
I agree. I didn't see this, but I feel like Steve Martin has now moved into Eddie Murphy, Robin Williams territory.
Tim Allen.
Well, Tim Allen, I don't know if he was ever really there.
He's not as bad.
I don't know if he was
as
ever
Tim
really there,
Allen.
but unfortunately, I was seeing on Rotten Tomatoes how they had a list of the 10 best Steve Martin comedies or films ever. And
I remember The Jerk.
I was so depressed reading that list because I was like, oh, he's made some really good films, and these latest ones he's done
I never
aren't good films.
understand why people get less funny as they get older.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like basketball or something where it makes sense that your skills deteriorate.
I think people are more willing to get a bigger paycheck, and they know family movies get bigger paychecks than R-rated comedies. So.
I want to be in something my grandchildren can watch.
Exactly. So unfortunately, I didn't see it, but I'll trust Adam on this one.
Yeah, well, movie that with a slightly different
that I
tone.
saw.
Yeah.
Push, the latest with also Dakota Fanning.
There are some people in this world with extraordinary gifts. We don't ask to be special. We're just born that way.
Yes!
Some of us can move objects with our minds.
You're a second-generation mover.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
Others can make their thoughts your own.
All right, here's Push, and it's another movie that surprised me. It looked kind of like this year's Jumper, where it's this cheesy, over-the-top action, which don't get me wrong, there's some cheesy over-the-top action going on in this. It's got an interesting cast in this, and that I enjoyed way more than I probably should have. It's got Dakota Fanning and I'm all grown up. I'm like Jodie Foster in Taxi Driver role going on here, where she's this wisecracking street kid, you know, and she's showing Chris Evans, who I actually kind of like outside of Fantastic Four movies. I like Chris Evans. But I thought he was pretty good in this. You got Camilla Bell, who is more notably for her good looks and dating a Jonas brother, and that's kind of all she brings to this table. And you got Jaemon Hanasu, who is always terrific and who does not act enough in movies such as like Blood Diamond. And it's all about these. It's like this movie's like Heroes, only bigger and broader. I thought it was going to be a complete Heroes ripoff going into this. But instead, it brings way more to it. There's these really cool, these people that called Watchers, and they got the people called the Sniffers, and it's kind of complicated at first trying to figure out who exactly these people are with these special powers.
Yeah, if I have to learn a whole new vocabulary to watch a movie.
Well, that's what I thought. That's what I thought in the first 5 minutes. I was going, oh, this is so confusing, because they try to explain that to you in the first 5 minutes, and you're going, how am I going to be able to keep up with this? But actually, the way they do it, it really works. And there's some really cool visual scenes in this. Does the plot hold up? No, not really. There's a lot of plot holes and loopholes. You're like, huh? And then stuff they throw in there that are like, what? What does that have to do with it? At the end of the movie, you're saying, that had nothing to do with the movie. But if you want to have some fun, it's a great TNT classic, as my friend Josh says. If you're just looking to zone out and see some cool action stuff and, and have some fun with the visuals, this is a good, solid movie to watch.
Well, I finally got around to seeing The Wrestler opening in Fayetteville this weekend.
Great to meet you.
1, 2, rail!
Really good. You really brought it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You hang in there. You got a lot of ability.
Have you ever seen a one-trick pony in the field so happy and free?
Well, I was wondering if I could get some more work.
All I got is weekends. Isn't that when you sit on other dudes' faces?
All right, The Wrestler is starring Mickey Rourke. He's this, washed-up 80s wrestler still trying to make his dreams come true or get a piece of the old glory days, and it just follows his life. It's a story that you've heard many, many times, but the way that it's done here is just fantastic. Darren Aronofsky, for Requiem for a Dream, Requiem for a Dream and some other movies, he just has this style that I haven't seen him use before. It's, sort of the handheld cinema verite style, but it works really, really well. Mickey Rourke is one of the best on-screen performances I have seen in a long time. Going into this, it's like, oh, we can't be that good. I really like Sean Penn. No, he has to take Best Actor in at least the Oscars. So I really love this movie. I only have 4 movies that I would say you have to see this year, and The Wrestler is one of the 4. I think we both enjoyed it quite a bit, so get highest recommendation.
Yeah, I talked about this a few weeks ago, and I haven't changed my mind, believe it or not. I'm still on the Wrestler train. I mean, like you said, Mickey Rourke's so powerful, and scene after scene, he does not let up. Every scene is so gritty and so real.
You're into the entire time. There's never a part where you're like, oh, look at the acting. You're just focused on him. It's so gripping, so raw. So it's in at Fiesta Square right now. You should definitely check it out while it's still there.
Definitely. This is, like you said, this is a must-see. You cannot miss this. And it's not an indie film. I mean, it is an indie film in money-wise and budget-wise, but as far as the way the movie pans out, you're not going to get bored with this movie. You're going to get emotionally involved, and you're going to enjoy this
It's not a dry drama. It's not like Doubt. No. It's something that's going to hit you the whole time.
Yeah, so see it for sure.
Well, we are going to go ahead and talk about our top 10 of 2008, but first we have a trivia question for you. Which living person has been nominated for the most Academy Awards? And the person with the most Academy Award nominations, at least living person, is John Williams with 45.
Obviously, I did not get that one.
All of them for Best Original Score and Best Original Song.
Yeah, he is classic. And a tie-in to last week's trivia question. He did the score to Black Sunday last week's trivia question. So
nice.
You never know when he's going to pop up.
He did
the
score for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Just assume it's John Williams.
That's right. So now we're starting off with each of us listing our top 10 movies of 2008. We're a little behind. Most people have already got this done. But we're here in Fayetteville. Sometimes we don't get to all the Oscar contenders. So this isn't New York or LA. But starting off, we're going to start off with my number 10, The Visitor, which stars Richard Jenkins. He's the only really known actor in this movie, but he plays this kind of boring professor who in a small Connecticut, I think, and he has an apartment in New York City, and he goes there and he finds out that there's these immigrants living in his apartment, and he doesn't know them. and they've been squatting there in his apartment. And basically, he goes from being this bored with his life situation to now all of a sudden he cares about what he's doing. And it's a fantastic film. Number 9 is Tropic Thunder, which we've reviewed this in the past. It's a great comedy. It's great satire on Vietnam War movies and the whole making movies and the way the Academy is. Of course, Robert Downey Jr. is nominated. He's fantastic in this, but there's a lot of others that are fantastic as well. My number 8 is Doubt, a movie that's rife with ambiguity as well as doubt in this movie. This whole movie rolls around this idea that, what's going to happen, what is happening, and there's fantastic performances from the main characters in this. There really is only, 4 main characters in this,
right,
and they're all stellar.
All Oscar nominated.
All Oscar nominated, so you can't miss with any of those 3, I think.
Right. Well, my top 10, let's start out with number 10. We had Choke. Sam Rockwell plays a sex addict who he has some mother problems with Angelica Houston. It's based on a book by a guy whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce. He also wrote Fight Club. I really love this movie. It's a great, dark humor. I really enjoyed it. You can get it on DVD. It didn't do too well in the theaters. Frost Nixon is my number 9. Of course, fantastic performances all around. I'm a bit of a sucker for political films, so if you're interested at all in this, I really enjoyed it. I thought that Martin Sheen did just as good of a job as Frank Langella did, so I would definitely check this movie out if you're interested at all in this period of history. And my number 8, Burn After Reading. This is a comedy for people who hate people. It's by the Coen brothers. It's terrific. They have all these wonderful, quirky characters. Brad Pitt turns in a wonderful performance. Great cast. It had me laughing the entire movie, even when I was really sad about the laughter.
I can't disagree with any of those 3. I love all 3 of those. All 3 of those are right on my verge of being on my list. All right, now my number 7 is we got In Bruges, this is the Colin Farrell movie where he's actually great in. Sometimes people think Colin Farrell, is overrated, but him and Brendan Gleeson, as well as Ralph Fiennes, it's a great black comedy and satire that do a good job of showing, how it is being a boring town, and it's bloody, it's funny, it's got it all. It's a really good movie, and it didn't get a big release at all. My number 6, Shotgun Stories, a very small film. You have to get this on DVD because that's the only way you're going to see it. It's set in Arkansas. There's a lot of Arkansas references. It was my DVD pick of the week last semester on one show. And it's about these brothers who are trying to deal with their father dying, and they have a hard time with it. My number 5 is Synecdoche, New York. We've reviewed this in the show as well. Philip Seymour Hoffman and his crazy, warped movie about making a play within a play within a play. And this movie will divide you. Some of you will hate this movie, but I think some of you will truly enjoy all it has to offer. It's crazy and far out there, but
it's when you have to sit back and let the movie take you for a ride.
I really enjoyed that one.
Well, my number 7 was Tropic Thunder, and of course we just both love this movie. It's just it's one of those comedies where after it's over and you leave the theater, that's when it hits you about how good of a comedy it was. And it's just, all about the process of acting, and it's really very harsh on the actors themselves, just saying, how can you even try to pretend to play these people? Now, number 6, I have Doubt. Of course, as Aaron said, just terrific performances all around. I really enjoyed the story. It's very compelling, based on a award-winning play. I really enjoyed it. Everything about this movie is just terrific and gripping. My number 5 pick was Milk. Of course, starring Sean Penn, Josh Brolin. I thought this was, another terrific movie. I already knew the whole plot. I knew how it was going to end. And this is one of those biopics that just does a terrific job of exploring this complex, important character without it's a very political film without overdoing it, I thought. It makes Milk out to be such a fascinating character.
So far, Adam, you've done no wrong in my eyes. All those were great movies, so I can't argue with it there. Now we'll go into my top 4. And my number 4, of course, The Dark Knight. What can be said that hasn't been said? It's a great movie. It's a great action movie. Great performances. All of my top 4 could have easily been my number 1. But, you've got to be subjective. And I went with Dark Knight at 4, maybe to be a rebel more than anything. But, no, it's a great movie. It's got it all. And I'm sure you've seen it by now because almost everybody has. 3 is The Wrestler. We just talked about it. I can't praise it anymore. Mickey Rourke, fantastic. Again, I will just reiterate, go see this at Fiesta Square right now. It's terrific. Marissa Tomei is wonderful in that. Evan Rachel Wood. My number 2 is The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Some people didn't care for this movie. Some people call it a Forrest Gump ripoff. But you know what? Who cares? It's got some similarities to Forrest Gump, sure. But I like Brad Pitt in this. I don't think he's just playing Brad Pitt in this. I like the way they pulled off some of with the CGI and the visual effects. I like the way the story unfolded. I like the romantic story. This was a great film, and I'll stick by it. I had a personal connection, and I really liked it.
It's not in my top 10, but I did like it. I've liked all of your picks, even if they're not my top 10.
Sure.
All right, well, my number 4 movie is, you guessed it, The Wrestler. I hope we've hammered this point home enough tonight. It's Monday. They still have another showing of The Wrestler at Fiesta tonight before the theater closes. So, take about 5 or 6 more minutes, finish watching the show, and go see The Wrestler. You won't regret it. My number 3 is Slumdog Millionaire. Out of the Best Picture noms, this is my favorite one. This is just a terrific story. I love to see films like this that are so well done and with a plot it's just terrific. It's something that's going to get you laughing, crying. It's Bollywood only with more of a Western sensibility, so you can really get into it. And my number 2 is The Dark Knight. Of course, Heath Ledger gives one of the best performances as a villain that I can even think of. It's one of the best action movies of all time, hands down, and it's such a a complex and intelligent film that it really should have gotten a Best Picture nominee.
I agree.
Yeah.
Bump out the Reader, like we've said before. Get rid of the Reader, throw in The Dark Knight. Right. Everything's cool, and they get some more ratings. So
I don't know anybody who didn't love The Dark Knight. So I'm sure you've already seen it though.
True. Okay, now drum roll, please. Number 1 movie for me, no surprise, Slumdog Millionaire. I toted this widely a few weeks ago, and I've not changed my mind again. Like Adam said, it's got it all. It's got action, it's got adventure, it's got romance, it's got comedy, it's got a heartwarming story, and for once we're going to have maybe a winner, hopefully, cross my fingers, a winner with a happy ending.
Right,
and,
it's been a long time.
It's got a fantastic soundtrack, a fun soundtrack, and maybe we can get some Adam to do some Bollywood dancing if it wins.
Yeah, if you vote in the Silver Reels Award.
So vote Silver Reels. If that wins, maybe Adam will Bollywood dance for us. So
and my number 1 film, I'm sure if you're a fan of the show, you can already guess, is WALL-E.
WALL-E.
It's just terrifically stunning. It's so accessible for anybody on any level, but at the same time, it just takes this complex dystopia and just weaves it into this magical story. It has probably at least my favorite romance in well over a decade. I just can't talk enough about how much I love WALL-E. It's one of the greatest animated movies of all time. I just love it. It's pretty much Chaplin combined with Kubrick, 2 of my favorite directors. It's just a dream come true. So.
Yeah, you are in love with WALL-E. I know that more so than WALL-E is with Eva. But I like the movie as well. I like the movie as well. But I maybe not number 1. But I can't diss on it. It was a great movie. It was a great film to watch. So you can't go wrong with Disney's Pixar. So.
Right, and of course, almost all these films we talked about are up for nominations in the Silver Reels Awards. You can log on and vote right now at RazorbackReels.com. Cast your ballot in each of these categories. They've all gotten a release in Fayetteville by now, so you don't have an excuse to wait any longer. If you don't like who we nominated, just write in your own vote. We've been getting a lot of write-in votes. And you have until 2 Thursdays from now to cast your ballot. And on February 23rd, we will announce your picks here in the studio on UATV. So this is your chance, if you're upset like us that The Dark Knight didn't get a nomination.
Let's hear your voice, for sure.
Let's try and beat the Reader.
So yeah, you never know what Adam's going to do depending on who wins. We could do some Bollywood dancing.
Slumdog Millionaire, we'll do the whole dance.
You never know what's going to happen, so we'll see. But yeah, definitely vote.
Right. And of course, AMC Fiesta Square, special thanks to them. $4 movies all day Monday through Thursday. And before 4 o'clock on the weekends, you also have $4 movies.
And isn't The Wrestler at
Fiesta Square? The Wrestler's at Fiesta Square. And if you go after the show, it's only $4. Sweet. You don't even really have to buy concession. It's just $4. You will thank us. You will write us a letter and thank us for telling you to see it. Well, until next week we're going to have President's Day special.
Sweet.
So stay tuned for that.
Adam in a Lincoln beard. We'll see.
I'm Adam Roberts.
And I'm Aaron Imsall.
We'll see you next week.
See you.